Welcome to Getting Your Sales Out of Quarantine with 4 online strategies. I am Lauren Slocum on behalf of the Central Rhode Island and East Greenwich Chambers. We want to thank you for joining us for this information-packed 2-part series that will feature 4 ways to move your company forward and increase your sales. Please note that all 4 presenters will be on both sessions. And today we feature Boost Your Credibility with Google, presented by David Englund, Englund Studio, and Clarify Your Website to Sell, presented by Alan Langer with the 7 Secrets. Then on Friday, we're going to cover how to increase your visibility with podcasts, presented by Patricia Raskin, Raskin Resources Productions, and Generate Sales with Email, presented by Ed McDonough, ECE Marketing Services. So please join me in welcoming our first presenter, David Englund, Boosting Your Credibility with Google. David, all yours.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for Lauren for doing this. I just had a little share my screen. It helps if people can see it, right? Okay. Let me know if you can see that.
Looks good.
Okay, great. Good morning. I know it's a little early, but I'll try to keep this pretty light because it's a little bit of an overview on how to be found on page 1 of Google, A, and B, how to get great reviews. And reviews are really fast becoming really the only means for people to make the phone call to hire you, because when you go to Google, if you see someone with a 2-star rating and someone with a 5-star rating selling the same services, who are you going to call? And I don't mean Ghostbusters. You're going to call the 5-star rating. So this is what Sal and I do at Englund Studio, and Sal's on this Zoom call as well. He's one of the boxes in there. He can wave. So this is getting found with Google. Let me just start right away. All right, so this is just a slightly old stat here, but 7 out of 10 Americans, or 69% of the population, use social media to connect with one another. So look at the bottom. In 2005, only 5% were on, up to 69. This is kind of like a duh slide. Like everyone knows it's growing. You're hiring someone to do something, whether it's cutting your lawn, buying a new car, looking for a real estate agent. You're doing it all online, or it's a friend. But usually it's a friend on Facebook. Like, hey, Teresa, who's your real estate agent? So it's always online, this online connections. And this, I know it's a little wordy and I try to keep it light, but this is actually from Google themselves. Your SEO search engine optimization is greatly impacted through the use of Google My Business. The more complete and accurate your Google My Business listing is, the higher it will rank in Google search and maps. In fact, complete and accurate Google My Business listings get 7 times more clicks than those missing information, and are 70% more likely to attract location visits. This is evidence that Google My Business can help to improve not only your search ranking, but also your traffic and your sales. So Google My Business, when it first came out, it was Google Plus. We all know that. That was like the big white room people joked about. It was the answer to Facebook. It was Google's version of Facebook, but very few people were on it. A lot of marketers were on it, thought leaders, but it didn't quite take off. I loved it. I thought it was great. But everything you posted on that Google Plus page actually showed up in internet search because A, it's Google, right? Where Facebook, if you post a big story on Facebook, it's not going to be searchable online nearly as much as a Google. But they got rid of Google Plus. It just wasn't really catching on. Then they launched this, Google My Business. And Google is saying, if you're a business owner and you service an area within a concentric circle of your business, or you can travel, either way, you really need Google My Business. And so that's what today's lesson is about, is to get you on Google My Business and get you found with good ratings. So this is the mobile version. Google My Business gets your business on page 1 of Google. People who search on Google pay very close attention to ratings. So if you were to pay someone an SEO person, it's called search engine optimization, you have to pay, thousands, 800 to 5,000 roughly, to just keep and maintain a ranking on page 1 of Google. Or you can do it free, but free shows up in a box. It doesn't show up as a listing at the very top of the page. It's 3 listings down, and then it opens up a box. And you'll see that next time you do a search. Just do a search for dog trainer or used car, or like, I don't know, accident attorney, P&C, personal injury attorney, whatever. And you'll see a few listings, and then you'll see this box, and it's the location box. So this is the mobile version, and I typed in the word website design. This is a slide from a few months ago. We're actually at 35 reviews. We're number 2 right here, but it fluctuates in that box. We might be the 4th one down, the 1st one down. It doesn't matter as long as we're in the box. And if you were looking for a web designer, and I'm just throwing this out as a sample, who would you hire? Brave River, and I'm in no way am I trashing anybody here. I'm just using this as a for instance. Brave River, see the little black lettering ad? You could tell that's an ad. They're paying to be on Google of page 1. It also puts them in the box, in the Google My Business box. So they're paying for that. So there's a little bit of psychology there where, do you want to hire someone who's paying for you to find them? Or do you want to hire someone who naturally shows up near the top because people just flat out keep visiting their site and it's a popular site and the word gets out that they're really good at what they do? So there's that. The other thing is the amount of ratings. So they have 5 stars. We have 20, although right now we're at 35. RI Web Factory has no reviews. JPEG has 41. So I would either call Englund Studio or JPG Designs. However, an interesting thing to note, Englund Studio, see underneath it says open and closes at 7 p.m. I took this screenshot at about 6 o'clock at night. JPG Designs closed. So they're closed at 5 o'clock. So that's something you should consider when you fill out your Google My Business. If you can pick up the phone and take a referral and take a customer at 10 o'clock at night, guess what? Change your hours. Make it 10 o'clock at night. It's okay. It's completely fine. If you can pick up the phone, do that, because it's a question of you leaving money on the table. Someone may hire someone else because they're open. So there's that to look at. And the ratings. The ratings are really good too. It's a visual. So this is the desktop view. The same search. See at the very top, website design RI. And you've got that results driven Rhode Island. The next one is Brave River. And that green link is an ad. Web design company, Digital Impulse is an ad. So those 3 are being paid. There is a psychology that says, I don't know if I'm going to click on those because people pay for it, like I just said earlier. But then you go down and there's the Google box. This is free, folks. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. Again, we show up on the desktop. We happen to be the 4th one down. Again, it doesn't matter as long as we're in there and we can see our 5-star rating. So hopefully that makes sense with the mobile version. Digital desktop version looks really the same. But we're going to focus on the mobile version for this. And Google makes it easy for local businesses to be found and hired. Look at this. So you type in website designer. This pops up. You're 1 click away from calling that website designer. Now, if this was you and you were on the other end of it and you were the website designer or the real estate agent or life coach or whatever, they give you a call button. They give you a directions link, which opens up a map. And of course, there's your website. This is amazing. Google is trying to help local businesses. This really works for local businesses. Like, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And then the ratings, of course, are there too. And then you could scroll down over to the right. That panel is really an extension of the first panel. Just imagine that you just kept scrolling down and you'd see the reviews and you could read the reviews. So that's a good thing. Whereas if you just did a search on Google, you'd see a listing and that's it, the heading and then the meta tag description of what it is. You know, dentist in Rhode Island, you Google it and you get, you know, I don't know, Englund dentistry, you know, established in 1958. That's it. There's no ratings, nothing. The Google box has the stars. That's where you want to be. So how do you set up your Google My Business account? Well, it's an app. First of all, you can download it. And you see the top right corner of the screen, the little storefront with the G? That's what it looks like. You can go to your Android store or Google Play, or if you're on Android, and if you're on iOS, it is the Apple Store. And just look for that and download it. So what you want to do, more than likely on your desktop, you want to sign into your Google account. Most everybody has a Google account. If you don't, you should get one. It's, you know, your Gmail. It ties in YouTube because Google owns YouTube. It ties a lot of things together. So you go to google.com/my business and click Start Now. And it pretty much just walks you through setting up Google My Business account. We don't have time to really talk about everything there, but you enter your business name, the address, the services you provide, and of course your phone number. And then what happens is it starts a postcard verification process. And it wants to make sure that you are who you are at that location. I'm not going to read this, but there's 3 ways to get verified. Usually it's number 1. They will send you a postcard, and I'll just read that quick. Postcard verification is the most used verification process. All right, so I won't read anymore. It's too wordy. So it takes about 5 days, and the postcard comes in, and it's got like a 5-digit number on it. And you take that number and you put it into your app or your desktop. Either way, it doesn't really matter. And you verify that you are where you are. So there are 4 pieces of information that have to be accurate. Proximity. You can't put a PO box. I know it used to be, you used to be able to do that if you were, say, a dog trainer and you want to dominate all over the state. You'd basically pay the $5 a month in East Greenwich for a PO box. You'd pay the $5 a month in Providence for a PO box. Pay $5 a month in Westerly for a PO box. Now you've got like 3 locations. Can't do that anymore. Google looks at that and says, you're trying to be tricky. You're trying to trick Google. Can't trick Google. So proximity shows you your location on a Google map as well. Citations. Citations, we have a lot of questions with citations. Another word for citations is it's a website. It's sort of like a ratings site, but it's just a website like Yelp. It's just a place where it shows your listings. MapQuest is one. Yelp, Manta, M-A-N-T-A. It has a lot of business listings there. And you have to put in you have to fill out your citations on 34 of them. There's 25 of the most popular, but there's 34. There's even a lot more than that. But 34 is really the basic nut that you want to go after. I will tell you it's painful. It takes a long time because when you start filling it out and you put in the email, all of a sudden you get an email immediately from a salesperson at, say, Manta or whatever. And they're saying, I heard you're filling out, I just saw that you're filling out your description of your business here. Would you like to pay for some digital ads? We have a sale going on. So you got to deal with all that. So that's tough. Relevance. When you fill out your profile on Google My Business, make sure you put the correct keywords and the correct services. And the reviews, that's another piece of information that's really important. Always ask for a 5-star and answer back. If someone leaves a review, always answer back. There's a phrase, I'm trying to think, ratings is a spectator sport. So if someone's on Facebook or Yelp or wherever, and someone says, oh, I went there, I gave them a 1 star. That was the worst food I've ever tried. I'll never go back there again. My wife and I hate it. We'll go to another restaurant before we go there. And then everyone's looking at that going, wow, that guy was mean. I wonder what the owner's going to say. It's a spectator sport. So you should take advantage of that. Even a bad review is really a good review because you can respond saying, I am so sorry about that. What time did you show up at our restaurant? I'm going to find out who our server was because we take it really serious that we give you the best service. You do something like that, you get 500 people watching your response and they're going, okay, that guy was a little emotional, but I think the owner, what a great guy. I'm going to go there. Let's go eat there tomorrow night, honey. That's how it works. Spectator sport. How to make it easy for customers to leave a review on Google? Well, here's how you make it hard. Don't say, hey, I'm on Google. Leave a review. Can you leave a review? Because if I said that to you, you would have no idea where to go. Where do I go? I go to Google. What do I Google your name? How does it work? So here's what you do. And here's the trick. Just open up a browser and in the search bar, type in your business name, not your industry. So if you're Aaron, you wouldn't type in Aaron's business. You type in architectural photographer, commercial photographer. All right. Actually, I'm sorry. Let me back up. It's the opposite. I wouldn't say the industry. I would actually say your name. And then over to the right, see where it says Superb Digital Media, because I typed in the upper left corner. You click on where it says write a review, and then this window pops up, and then you copy that link at the very top, and then you go to bit.ly.com, which shortens that link, because that's a very long link. And that's the link that'll open up that window. Now, Sal found a better way to do it, and if he could unmute, he can tell you what that is right now.
If you go into your Google My Business account, you just log in to Google My Business as the account person. Right on the main page, on the home page, or on the info page, there's a little spot where it says copy my review location. If you copy, it'll give you a URL. You can bring that to bit.ly if you'd like it shorter, but whatever, it brings you right to the 5 stars. So there's no get to my Google My Business page and having to figure out where the review is. It brings you right to the review.
Right. Thank you, Sal. So that's actually a little more safer. You'll definitely get it working there. So when you get that, you can put that link right in your email saying, hey, and put it in your signature. Have it on every email. Can you please give me a 5-star rating and write a quick review? The goal is to have more 5-star ratings than your competition. I won't go into this because I know my time is up, but Google is also a social media platform. You can post photos of an event that's coming up. We weren't going to do a live demonstration, but that is it. That is my presentation. I hope that inspires you guys to get Google My Business. It's a free app and it's a free service. Google wants to help local businesses. So please do it. If you have any questions, you can contact Sal or I. And I am
Any
done.
questions for David right now? Thanks so much, David.
No problem.
If you have a question, feel free to unmute and ask. And if you want, you can also use the chat box. Go for it.
I have a question. It's Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, Sal. I went through this, right, frankly, I haven't touched it in a while, but I remember filling out a postcard, getting a postcard, wondering what the hell am I getting this postcard for, and realized that I asked for it. What I ran into that I think caused me to stop was the reviews section. How significant is having, like if you have a 4-wheel car, but you can't use the 4th wheel, and it's not going to drive. I'm probably in my industry prohibited from having reviews available in this environment. If I can't have reviews, my compliance people tell me that I can't use reviews. How useful is Google My Business to me?
It still shows up in the box on page 1. So that alone is useful. And it'll show up with other people in your industry who can't have reviews. So no one has stars. So it's an even playing field, but at least you're in the box. Where if your competition doesn't do Google My Business, they won't be in that box. You'll be the only one in there.
Okay. Well,
So that is good.
That's a good answer. Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, I have a question.
Hi, Kathleen.
Hi, how are you? Thank you. This has been so useful. I'm new at a social services agency that's never had a communications person. And I think definitely over the years, people have tried to help, and we have multiple Google My Business accounts. So I'm just curious, do they just go away as the new one becomes more valid?
No, they don't go away. You'd have to cancel them.
Okay.
Sal could answer that even better. You have to really get into the account and delete it. You gotta kind of find out where it is. Delete
Okay.
the ones that aren't really there, shouldn't be there. We do that all the time, actually.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
happens a lot.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Oh no, I've noticed this at other jobs too. You know, there's like errant Facebook accounts for, but this is Google My Business. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Sal, could you tell us how to get to that link again on the Google My Business that we can send people links to give us reviews?
Sure, it's google.com/business. And what it'll ask for is your Gmail login.
Okay.
So you need a Gmail login in order to do any of this management.
Okay.
And then right there on the home page, over to the right, down towards if you scroll down a little bit, it says share my review.
And it gives you the link. So when you click on that, it gives you the link, share my review.
It'll copy a relatively long URL that you can share.
Mm-hmm.
As Dave mentioned, you could take that into Bitly and make a smaller one if you wanted to, and just share that smaller URL.
Yeah, let me just add that I've had people come up to us and say, I've asked for Google reviews. I don't get any. People just they don't want to do it. I'm like, I bet you're saying, can you leave me a review on Google? And no one knows where to go. What do you mean? Is there a review? Do I type in Google review? Where do I go? You got to send them right to your Google My Business page with the pop-up window where it's the easiest thing. Click 5-star, great person to work with, enter, gone. It literally takes 3 seconds. Not kidding. You have to make it easy for people.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, I can vouch for that last part. About a year ago, I had one review, and it came from my web designer, who did it before we even got the website done. So then I started sending the link out just like that, and it went right to the spot. And now I have 10 reviews, and that's 9 more than most of my competition.
There you go.
It's quite worth it.
That's awesome, Aaron. That's really good. They say with one less you have 5-star reviews, the key is quantity, a lot of them, and also the quality. Having 5 stars is really good. For a restaurant, I don't know if there's any restaurant people, a cafe, for every star you lose 10% of your business. Because if I'm going to go to a seafood place, I type in seafood Westerly, and then there's 2 listings. There's Jerry's Seafood Hut, 4-star rating, and Tommy's Seafood Hut, 3-star rating. I'm going to go to Jerry's. Tommy just lost he's going to lose 10% of business by losing a star. So don't just say, give me a good rating. Say, can you please give me a 5-star rating? And
what if you're home-based? Is there a way to make an address a region or a more generic place? Because you can't do a P.O. box anymore. How do you do that so that you're not directing people to your home?
So that's in the services. You can actually say, I serve this community. And you can say where it's going to go. It doesn't have to be a physical location, because someone like a doctor has a location, but someone else, I don't know, like a dog sitter goes to different people's houses. They can say where their service area is. Look for that word service area when you're filling it out.
You do have to have a non-PO box address to verify the account, but you can specify that you're serving an area. I just want to clarify that, Dave.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
And Sal, can you make it so that that address is not public? It doesn't show, only the area you serve shows?
I believe when you put the area in, that's what people see.
Yeah, that supersedes your physical address. If you don't put the area, your address shows up.
Dave, when you showed a picture on your presentation, there was Englund Studio business card. Then there was a picture of a house. Was that something that Google did on its own because of your physical address, or what was that?
So then when you get the Google My Business app, you pretty much just look at it. It's all invisible. G, look at the big G. You can upload photos, and the first photo you should upload is called the profile photo, oddly enough, and that should be your logo or the front of your building or whatever you do. I mean, if you're a massage therapist, show the room, your table with the candles, and make it attractive. But you should upload images. That's another lesson. There's other things to do there. It's crazy. It's really crazy. And it gets ranked on Google. So if you have an event coming up like this, you put the photo of this class and then put the text here, it will show up in Google ranking. If someone's looking for an event, boom, it shows up. It won't on Facebook, but it will on Google. So if you're a business owner, try to use Google My Business a little bit more than Facebook if you're B2C.
This might be beyond the scope of today's talk, but I'm going to be opening a satellite location in Florida for a part of the year, snowbirding. Mm-hmm. So is there something I can do to help generate some work down there?
Yeah, do the same thing. Open up, it's a second location. You open a second location and have the postcard get mailed there. And you could say that it's seasonal, that we're only open from October to January, and it's pretty full. It's pretty full setup on Google.
So is that a secondary Google My Business, or is it all part of the same one?
No, it's all part of the same one. That's your business. Great. You have 2 locations. Yep. Or you could start a brand new one again, but why bother? Just let it be 2.
Sure.
Yep.
Thanks.
I have
Any other questions? I heard they have a voice.
Yep, I have another question.
Go for it,
Michael.
Michael.
Interestingly, I just was able to get into my Google My Business. So already populated with the name and address of my business. So I must have done something somewhere, but I frankly haven't touched this. So I probably, now that I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the comprehensiveness of it, I probably have to talk to my compliance people first to make sure that, so far they allow me to use LinkedIn, they allow me to use Twitter, and they allow me to use Facebook. With static information. Any static information has to be pre-approved, but I can do postings. And it's being, in the background, it's being monitored by a company called Smosh for making sure that I'm not making false promises and promissory and all of that stuff. So how do I get in touch with either one of you? Sal, I don't know your last name or your phone number. How do I get in touch with one of you after I've had a chance to talk to my...
So you're going to get, Michael, and everyone on this call is going to get, after today, a list with all 4 presenters' contact information, as well as some additional information. If there's other questions, too, that anyone thinks of as we're going through, we want to make sure we give enough time to our next presenter. Feel free to put them into that chat box. Shoot an email afterwards. We'll be happy to try and get as many responses answered as we can. At the very end of this, we'll loop back around in case there's something else that you have thought of. But we want to now welcome our next presenter, Alan Langer, who's going to share with us how to clarify your website to sell.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's a good segue talking. Now you get everyone from your Google, your business, and they're going to go to your website. So I'm going to share my screen. And let's do that. All right, we good? Everybody can see that? Okay, so I'm a marketing guy. I've been a marketing guy, a sales guy. I've been doing it for about 25 years. And the one thing I've realized over the years, and a lot of companies even know this, is most companies waste an enormous amount of money on marketing. I call it shotgun marketing. They try different things. They throw stuff against the wall to see what sticks. But a lot of that is wasted money. And why is it wasted? What is the reason why companies waste money on marketing? Well, the reason normally is they can't communicate their message or their purpose clearly. A lot of companies are throwing so much information out that nothing is clear. Let's go to the political landscape for a second. Go back to the 2016 presidential election. I'm going to ask you a question. Don't answer it, but just think in your mind the answer. What was Jeb Bush's message to America? What was Hillary Clinton's single message to America, or Bernie Sanders, or Chris Christie? What was their message? They were trying to tell us, but what was their actual message? Now here's the question. What was Donald Trump's message to America? Everybody knows the answer. Big red hat, make America great again. I'm not picking political sides, but it's a good point, because if you're not clear, what happens is we as a consumer, we don't necessarily buy the best products. We buy the products that are communicated the clearest. And unfortunately, we also don't elect the best leaders. We elect the leaders that communicate the best. And you have to understand that in your marketing. Stop throwing so much information at people where they get confused. So take a look at this website. I'm going to ask you another question. Now, if I was doing this as a live presentation, I'd have people raise their hand. But look at this website and tell me what you think they sell. Now, if at a live presentation, I'd get hands and they say, well, it's trips to Hawaii, it's backpacks. I got water bottles once. I got kite flying. I got all kinds of things. You ready for this? This company sells handmade industrial ball bearings. That's what this company sells. Yes, I just saw Lauren's face right there. Handmade, they use the word artisan, innovative solution. There's nothing on this website that indicates anything industrial. Even if you did a Google search, David, on this for industrial ball bearings and this website came up, you would think it was a mistake and you would not click on it. This is such a confusing message for what they sell that they obviously never got any business. So what happens is when you're a solopreneur or when you're $1 million company, you want to get that website. Like, we got to start a website. We got to make this beautiful website. So what do? You go hire a designer. And there are some brilliant designers out there. We've got RISD right here in Rhode Island. Brilliant designers, and they're going to build you the most beautiful website you can ever have. Images, pictures, bells and whistles, but it doesn't sell anything. You launch that website, you sit back and wait for the sales to roll in, and what happens? You got crickets. And you got crickets because the website may be beautiful, but it doesn't have the copy it needs to sell anything. People buy products only after they read the words that make them want to buy the products. It comes down to words. Ed McDonough, of ECE marketing, email marketing, knows this better than anyone. We've been talking the last few days. It comes down to your copy and your words on your website. The prettiness of the website is important, but it's not going to sell anything if it doesn't have the right words. You have 8 to 10 seconds. This is very important. 8 to 10 seconds to answer these 3 questions when someone visits your website or someone looks at your marketing material. Question number 1, what do you sell? It's amazing how many websites you will visit, and I can't tell on page 1 what did they sell, just like the website I showed you. Question number 2, how do I get it? All right, now I know what you sell, how do I buy it? And question number 3, is it going to make my life better? Is it going to solve my problem? Okay. We are in such an information-driven world. When someone is searching for your business or to solve their problem, and they can't answer these 3 questions on page number 1 of your website, they're off to the next website. Think about it yourself. You don't want to scroll and find information. You want the information to be clear immediately when you see that website. And the way you get to this point is you have to understand the way the human brain works. So the human brain is tasked to do 2 things. 1, survive and thrive. Obviously, the human brain is tasked to keep us alive, both physically, but also in respect to what I'm talking about, informationally as well. And it helps us survive informationally by conserving calories. So what I mean by that is if you're throwing too much information at somebody, the brain is automatically going to say, I can't do this. I have to conserve some calories, and I'm going to check out. How many times have you been in a networking function and you walk up and say, hey, I'm Alan, what do you do? And the person says, well, my grandfather started the company 75 years ago in a little farmhouse in Virginia, and last week we painted it blue. And oh, we're hiring a new mail clerk tomorrow. And your brain is scanning that information for any information that's going to help you survive and thrive. And when you don't hear any of that, your brain's like, oh, I need to conserve some calories. I'm checking out. And now you're staring at this person and you're thinking, how do I get away from him? It's happened. Everyone in this room, in this presentation today, it's happened to at a networking function, because that person is giving you information that's not in your story, and it's not helping you survive and thrive. Here's a great statistic. The brain spends 30% of its time every day daydreaming. That's up. 15 years ago, it was 21% of the time. Today, it's 30% daydreaming. You know why? Because it's a defense mechanism. We have so much information coming at us, and if none of that information is helping us get through our day, it's helping us survive and thrive, as I like to say, you're going to start daydreaming. Here's a great analogy. Let's say you go to a movie theater. You see a great movie. You're in a dark room for 2 hours. How often do you daydream? Not once. You're watching that movie for 2 straight hours. Your brain is engaged. It's helping you thrive because it's entertainment, and you're not going to daydream. But think about the times where you start fading off, you start drifting. It's because you're trying to process some information that really has no meaning to you. It doesn't help you survive and thrive. So your brain's going to conserve the calories, and you're going to check out. Picture it this way. If you're a company and you hand someone information, pretend you're handing them an 8-pound bowling ball, okay? If your information is clear and crisp and concise, that customer is going to have an easy time holding the 8-pound bowling ball. But let's say the information isn't clear. Let's say you start using inside language, language that you understand from your industry, but the customer has no idea what that term is. Now it's handing them an 8-pound bowling ball covered in olive oil. They're going to have a tough time holding it, and they're usually just going to drop it because they can't understand what you're trying to tell them. But here's what happens. Companies hand someone an 8-pound bowling ball, a customer, then they hand them a second one. Now they got 2 pieces of information. Okay, I can handle that. Now they hand them a third bowling ball. That's where it needs to stop. The human brain can only process 3 things at once, 3 things maximum. Now a company's handing you 3 bowling balls, which is a lot of information to begin with. But what do companies do? They hand you a 4th bowling ball, a 5th bowling ball, a 6th, a 7th. And what happens, you have all these bowling balls. How many do you drop? All of them. And then you become a bloody pulp on the floor of information, and you're off to the next website. You handed them too much information to process. You dropped all the bowling balls, and now they're off. Here's the 5 words I want you to always remember when you're putting together your website, your marketing material, even a social media post. If you confuse, you'll lose. Write whatever you're doing down and then read this. And if any part of what you're writing is confusing, you're going to lose that customer. The more clear you are, the easier it is for a customer to do business with you. And the way you make your information clear is by using the elements of story. Now, there is a million elements of story, but there's also the main 7 elements of story. If you can follow this, that'll help your brand succeed. You will clarify your message, and you'll get more customers engaged with your product or service. So every story starts with a character, okay? That character is your customer. Your customer or your character wants or needs something. Okay, they're searching your website, they're looking at the direct mail piece, they're figuring out, all right, I need something. Why do they need something? It's because they have a problem. They have a problem to solve. People are on your website looking for your product or service because they have an issue. Now, here's the thing to understand. Too many companies start their messaging with what they do. You need to start your messaging with the problem you solve instead. Even when you're at a networking function, don't say, hi, I'm a real estate agent. Start with the problem you solve. Say, hi, I'm Jane, and I help people get out of apartments and go into homes and invest for their future. So you're talking about the problem you solve rather than what you do. So if you stop talking about your customer's problem, they stop paying attention to your brand. So always start with the problem that you solve. Now, what has happened over the centuries is in a story, the the thing I want you to understand is you meet a guide. So the next character of the story is a guide, okay? The guide is Yoda from Star Wars. It's Mr. Miyagi from the Karate Kid. It's Hunger Games. It was Woody from Cheers. Those are the guides that help the hero in the story. Now, here's the most important thing to remember, and here's where companies make the mistake. Your customer is the hero of the story, not you. You are not the hero of the story. You are the guide to get the hero to win the day, to get the customer to solve their problem. If you position yourself as the hero, you're not going to, it's not going to work. You have to be the guide. So now what does the guide do? The guide is going to give the hero, your customer, a plan. But the plan, again, this is where companies make mistakes. The plan has to be easy, step-by-step plan to move forward, or they won't move forward. So if I'm looking at downloading some software and it says there's 7 steps to download this software, I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot of work. I'm going to go off to the next website to try to find different software. But if it says step 1, download the software, step 2, watch the tutorial, step 3, become a great photo editor with Photoshop. As a customer, I'm thinking, I can do that. Those are 3 steps. Remember, go back to the bowling ball? 3. If you go over 3 steps, you're going to lose your customer. So when you give them a plan, make sure that it's only 3 steps. There could be steps within that plan, but make sure your 3 main your plan has 3 main steps. The plan then is going to call them to action. Okay. Another mistake companies make is they'll talk about what they do or they'll show what they sell, but then the customer can't figure out how to buy it. They got to scroll, they got to find, they got to go to the bottom website. You need to have a clear call to action, because unless you don't clearly do that and clearly call people to act, they won't take any action. So what I'm talking about, top right-hand corner of your website, buy now, act now, call now, schedule now. Don't use learn more. That one term drives me nuts. Learn more is very passive. You cannot be passive when you're asking someone for business. And here's something else. One of the things that people are afraid to do is ask for their business, okay? If you sell a product or service that you firmly believe, you go to bed at night knowing that this product or service is actually going to help a customer and improve their lives, it's actually your job, your duty to try to figure out a way to sell that to them comfortably and confidently. And you can't do that by being passive. You say, you got to get excited. If you buy this right now, your life is gonna be great. So the call to action is going to result in 2 things. It's going to result in success. They buy your product and their problem is solved. But the customer has to envision what their lives will look like if they use your product or service, if they're successful. You can't have a picture on your website of your building. I went to an accounting website the other day. It had a picture of a hand and a pen. That's not exciting to me. That's not success. If I had people jumping around like this or smiling people looking at their tax return or whatever the picture is, they have to envision the success to do business with you. And contrarily, it could also result in failure. If there are no consequences for not doing business with you, there's no reason to do business with you. You have to have a consequence. You got to be real. If you got a bad window and you don't buy these new great windows, then you're still going to be cold in your house. Or you go to a competitor that they're not going to do as well. You got to have the consequence for the customer to show them, if you don't do business with me, you're going to still be in the same situation and you're not going to solve your problem. So the 7-part story brand framework works just like this. You have a character who's your customer. They want something because they have a problem. And they need a guide. You're the guide to help them solve that problem. The guide's going to give them a plan that's going to call them to action that either leads to success, purchasing your product or service, or failure, not purchasing your product or service and either doing nothing or going with someone else. And the way you can do this, and I encourage everyone watching this, is if you go to mystorybrand.com, it's a free website. And every company I work with, I start right here with them, because you fill this out and it's going to literally clarify who your customer is, what they need, the call to action you need, the plan you need to come up with. It's going to ask you questions to fill this stuff out, and it creates a brand script. And the brand script is going to help you clarify everything you do, get rid of all the other junk that you've had on your website, be very clear what you do, and then you can go from there. And you can contact me, like Lauren said, later, and I can help you through this. but it really is a neat tool to go through because you're going to notice a lot of things that you've had on your website that you really don't need, especially early on. And I know I'm running out of time, but this is the final thing. Here's a before and after that I wanted to show, which is pretty evident of what we're talking about. So this company is called Equify, and this was their original website. So when you look at this website, you know that it says Equify Asset Services, realizing confidence in your assets. We don't know, I don't know what that means. Equify Asset Services, what is confidence in my asset? I'm wasting too much time. I'm burning way too many calories trying to figure that out this website, so I'm off to the next one. This is what we changed it to. 5 ways we make your company stronger. And there's the 5 ways. Commercial lending, real estate, insurance, boom, a strong photo of success, a happy dad carrying his kids. I'm going to do business with this company, or at least I'm going to scroll to page 2, and there's the call to action button, the call now, right up there. We changed that to an actual fill out a form call to action as well. So remember these 5 words. If you confuse with your information, you're going to lose, and you're going to lose customers. Thanks for listening.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you much. Questions? Yes, big applause. Sometimes we can't see the little hands. If you can just unshare for a moment,
Yeah.
Alan, so that we can see everyone. And if
Great
anyone
job,
has a
Alan.
question, unmute yourself and feel free to ask.
All right.
Great job, Alan. That was
Thank
excellent.
you. Oh, here we are. I'm having technical difficulty. Oh, here we go. All right. Okay, there we go. Any questions for me?
Alan, I had a question on the whole, like, when you confuse, I completely get that. You know, confuse consumers, don't make a decision. When you confuse, you lose. It's all great. If someone's writing copy, like even anybody here watching this, but they're like, I don't know if I'm doing industry speak, if I'm in my own head. So I would think just tell them to go out and talk to their customers and have them read the copy before you put it on the website. Is there something else that you do, or what do you?
No, that's a great point. Try to have someone read it who's not in the industry at all and say, do you understand what I'm trying to say? It's literally, you go back, you know, talk to me like I'm a 3rd grader. Try to make it very, very simple. If you use industry language, like SEO is a great example. You know, if you put SEO in your copy, 90% of the people are not going to know what that means. So give it to someone who you think is not going to understand that, or a typical customer, and ask them if they understand what you wrote. And if they don't, you got to change it.
Alan, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
In your last piece where you were talking about success and failure, how do you keep that customer and not scare them when you talk about failure? Like, well, if you don't use my product, you know, how do you do it subtly so that they're not frightened?
It is a subtle thing, but you want to have an area on your website. Again, this is after you kind of capture them a little bit on that first page where they answer those 3 questions. And, you know, it's usually like you can keep what you can stay where you can keep what you're doing. You can keep your old windows, and you can be cold in your house, or you can give me a call and schedule an appointment. It's almost like it's a very subtle thing. You don't want to, you know, show someone laying under a broken window or something with blood on their face, but you want to make sure that, you know, you're looking at this website for a reason. You have a problem, and I'm here to help you fix it. And again, if they're looking at other websites, or your competitors or other businesses, and they're not as clear as you, they're just going to feel more comfortable with you because you're really resonating with them, because you're very clear in what you're selling and how you're going to help them. Where everyone else is again, way too much information, and you got to try to, you know, conserve those calories trying to digest that information, and they're really going to feel more comfortable with you. Anybody else?
We have a quiet group today. If you
Yes.
think of something, don't hesitate to either put it in the chat box if you don't want to ask it directly. You also can email afterwards. But anyone else have a question now?
And I do recommend going to mystorybrand.com and taking that exercise. Spend some time doing that, and then you can contact me and I can help you through it. But it really, you'll be amazed when you're done with it how much clearer you'll feel about your brand and how you communicate with a customer. It really is a great tool. Thank you for the applause.
Ta-da. All right. Yay. Thank you. So in the interest of time, we promised to get you out of here in time. We want to thank very much today's presenters for their information. It was very interesting. I made lots of cheat notes to the side. Thank all of you for joining us. Hopefully you can come back again on Friday. Patricia Raskin will be sharing how to increase your visibility with podcasts. Wave, Miss Patricia. And Ed, hello Ed, will be sharing generating sales with email. So if you want to stay on the call for a minute or two, if something's popped in, you can. Certainly, if not, we understand. We want to keep you to your time frame. If at any point, just as a reminder, there are comments that come up, you will all receive everyone's contact information, their web addresses. But if at any point on any Zoom that you're on, you wish to save comments, web addresses, thoughts that are in the chat box, just bear in mind there's 3 dots that are to the right as though you were going to type in. If you click on that and click save, it will save that chat to a text file. However, if you have Chromebook or an iPad, that won't happen. So if you ever are on one with us, we'll be happy to send you that. Just let us know. Also, if there's topics you would like to see covered in an upcoming session, please shoot us an email, let us know. To all those that are signing off, I thank you very much. I thank our presenters again, and we'll see you real soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
See you Friday.
Bye, thank you.